Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Eddrick Show. This is the place for intelligent conversation with interesting people. I am your host, Eddrick Jerome. Thank you for tuning in. You can catch the Eddrick Show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all of your favorite online podcast streaming platforms. Hit subscribe, give us a like, drop us a comment, let us know how we're doing as we continue to grow this thing from the ground up. My guest today is Bay Area rapper, producer, and performer Excalibur. He has a passion for authenticity and a willingness to stand out. He delivers a range of sounds and messages through his music, and he's a true artist at heart. He wants nothing more than to make music that speaks to those in pain, uplifts the lost, and he is always true to himself. Excalibur was also recently named as the first Poet Laureate in the history of Suisun City, California. Congratulations.
Thank
Excalibur,
you.
welcome to the show.
Hey man. Hey, it's nice being here. Nice to have some conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get into it. Let's start out. Where were you born, raised, your formative years? Tell us about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, no, man. So I was born in Vallejo. Lived there for just like a little tiny bit, and then I've lived in Fairfield and Sassoon, kind of back and forth between those two for pretty much all of my life. Just no, yeah,
So pretty much the 707, as they say.
yeah, uh-huh.
So shout out to the 707.
Born and raised, yeah.
So you're growing up, and then all of a sudden, you realize you have this talent. So when did you kind of realize that you could write and rap and create? And that when did you first realize you had some artistic ability?
So I think it really hit about my junior year of high school. That's when I really started to know that I was like really into like writing verses, and then verses became songs and it kind of grew from there. So high school, but I feel like even before that I was always a fan of writing in general, even just creative writing, writing stories. I always used to just get into that that type of writing, and it kind of just snowballed from high school into college and everything. It just grew.
Hmm. Who are some of your influence? Because I'm a little older than you, of course, but hip hop's been around for 40 years plus, right? So
uh,
there's a wide range of styles from historic hip hop artists to the current artists today, right? So
right.
who are some of the folks who have influenced you, past and present, and who's your go-to right now?
So I think when it comes to influences, I kind of make a conscious effort to be influenced by a wide range of people. So new school artists, so like Kendrick Lamar, Lil Wayne, even some people who would be more like my peers, like I know X was real big for me,
Hmm.
and then old school too. Tupac is a staple, so he's always gonna be an influence for me too. Real influenced by even like Biggie too. He, man,
Go on and on.
on and on. Yeah,
One of the things I really, really appreciate, because I listen to your music, I really, really appreciate is that you have diversity and complexity, and it's not just a one style type of thing. I mean, you
right.
really are varied in your approach to music. So,
Yeah.
as a new artist, why is it so important to you that you're creating a music that really is, not just one particular style or genre?
Well, that's honestly like a big one for me. It's big for me that I do that because I feel like as a person, like all humans obviously we're so complex. Like one day I feel one thing, the next day I feel the next thing. It's never gonna be exactly the same. And I feel like you can't encapsulate everything by sticking in one lane, you know? And even beyond just like emotions and what influences the songs, even just to creatively, I really enjoy stepping out of those boundaries. Like it's like fun, you know, it's fun to write my verse and try to rap as best as I can. But when I really start trying to step into some of these other bags, like my like pop or like my pop rock and then the R&B, it's a different type of accomplishment. It feels like it's like I really pushed myself, instead of just staying in that circle.
Hmm. Hmm. I like the fact that you mentioned rock. And because I think we lose touch with the fact that rock was a huge part of hip hop at the beginning. You know, a lot of Run DMC's early stuff had some like just crunching guitar solos and things like that. So when you talk about rock and guitar, are there particular people you like in that world, or is just something you just like to incorporate into your music?
There's definitely people I like. I lean more towards like the pop rock, indie rock. So like Panic at the Disco is huge for
Mm.
me. I
Wow.
had
Wow. Right
yeah,
on.
man. In high school, I had a whole friend group who they played nothing but like pop rock, like Panic at the Disco, 21 Pilots. Oh, there's one more that I'm thinking of. Oh, I can't think of the name. Linkin Park, they used to play a lot of that too. So that kind of just stuck with me and it became part of my taste and like what I would play just regularly. And now it's like I listen to those songs and I start writing things and I'm like, I kind of feel like if I go this direction, towards that direction, I can express something, you know what I'm saying? A little better in
Yeah.
that style.
I'm so glad to hear you say that because I think that's something that's unique to the Bay Area is that
Yeah.
like you growing up here in the Bay Area, I listen to a lot of different things, man, and it just I think it just makes for to me a better artist because you have that ear, right, and you can
Right.
bring elements from different styles. So kudos to you for that, man. For Panic at the
Mhm.
Disco, man, that's right on,
Yeah.
man, right on. Let's talk about your music now. So you've released several EPs in the past few years. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about them, and then also talk to me about the platform you're using, like Spotify,
Yeah.
and you've also used SoundCloud as well. So
Yeah.
talk about those experiences.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So I've put out a good number of like EPs, maybe like I might have hit 10, maybe 10 on EPs, and then I have two albums that I've created. It started from the EPs, and my first one was only on SoundCloud, still only on SoundCloud. It was like called King of Hearts. That was the first step into me making like a body of work. Like instead of just one song, it was like five. It was five. And I think when I first made that one, it clicked with me. I was like, I like making bodies. I like making collections because
Mm.
it just feels so much more together and cohesive. And then it kind of just went on. I made the next one and the next one, maybe singles in between. And at the beginning, it was staying mostly on SoundCloud and YouTube. And as I kind of got more experienced in releasing music, that's when I really started wanting to expand the ways that people could listen to it.
Hmm.
Because obviously SoundCloud is cool and it's such a powerful tool. But on a regular day, like most people are going to use their Apple Music or their Spotify or Tidal or so I just wanted to be able to expand that. And the process for that really wasn't too much different. I mean, obviously SoundCloud is completely free and that's one of the powerful things about it. But once you start getting into working with like distributors and getting onto Spotify and getting onto Apple and all of the other platforms, it really opens up another world for you, another layer to it. Kind of changed the way that I look at the way that I release music because there's so many aspects now as opposed to just click upload onto SoundCloud. Now it's there, and I kind of got to wait a little bit. I got to be more patient and plan out a little bit more when I release.
It's interesting, I think, for younger artists like yourself, because you have the benefit of history, meaning you can look back at how the traditional distribution, signing to a label, all of those things, many times were disadvantageous to the artist, and so you can control your own product, so to speak. Now, so um, having that streak of independence, how are you approaching that? Is that something you are going to be steadfast with, or are you having that conversation, that discussion among within yourself?
I most definitely have. There's a lot of people that create such a an amazing example for when it comes to sticking to that independence as an artist, like E40,
Yeah. Yep.
huge, huge on independence. He releases his own music and then steps out and does all of the other business ventures that he does. Tech Nine was also huge on independence, huge for independent artists. So I think like people like that just make me, when I reflect on that, I really think like, yeah, I want to stick to that. Obviously, labels and all of those other things, they provide resources, but they also come with, certain like risks and certain sacrifices that you got to make. So looking back at those artists and those examples, it really does make me lean more towards the independent side of things.
Let's circle back now to your first album, Starchild.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, the meaning of the title, and the concept of that album.
Right. Starchild was a certain period in my life where I felt like I was really coming into my own as an individual, as a human, as a man, as a lot of different things. For me, that album really represents like finding myself, This was in college, about my junior year. So I've done so much like creativity and music, released so much music during that period. And this was actually the period where I started leaning towards getting onto Spotify and Apple and everything. So it was a huge step for me. Creating the album itself, like the songs, I was dead set on producing just about all of it. Prior to this, I had produced songs for myself, but at this point, I really wanted to step it up. So I wanted to take it all produced by me, recorded by me. It's about me, it represents growth. It represents finding yourself. And when I released it, I feel like most of the people that I spoke to about it, they felt that, like even without me saying anything about it, they were like, this felt like homecoming, like finding yourself,
Mm.
and that's really what I wanted it to be. So it came out exactly how I wanted.
Nice, nice. Well done, man. Well done. The other part of your artistic expression is the live performance. And I've seen you perform. I've seen the passion, the energy you put into the live performance. You put a lot of work into that. So tell me about that aspect of your art, in addition to creating the music, the performance piece.
Right. It's really funny because like as an artist, you're projecting yourself and you're putting yourself out there and out of your comfort zone a lot of the times. But for a long time, and even still, like I've always been really introverted and really to myself. Performing is one of those times where I get to really like not become someone else, but become a different version of me. Like I get on the stage and I get to talk to everybody in the room all at once. I get to let them know what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, what ideas I want them to think about. And I get to just get up there and have fun and, dance and move and just try to get people to engage with me. It brings a lot of life to me. And then I feel like it also brings a lot of life to other people too, when they're seeing it, like they get to, come out of their
Right.
shell a little bit.
Yeah. When I saw you perform, I think you were referencing, was it Vice? I think you were using,
Like, yeah,
yeah. And what I liked is that you really engaged the audience in a concept from the beginning and you kept through it. So maybe
yeah,
for our listeners, you can talk a little bit about Vice because it was so compelling, man.
yeah. So, if you're listening and you haven't, and you weren't present for that performance, I had a spoken word piece that I was performing. Um, I was doing it between each song of the performance, and it would extend, and I was talking to the audience, trying to get them to talk back with me at certain points, and it was really just tying in everything that it was about with the certain songs that I had chose. It was about certain songs were about giving in to vices and struggling with staying true to yourself and finding what you really stand for. And the poem was really about pulling that all together, tying it together with the theme of vices in their many different forms.
Yeah, it was well done, man. Really, like I say, really engaging. And so I just want to commend you on that because the live performance is such a part of it, and
Yeah,
you are right on track with combining all of the elements. So
right.
um, now we've talked about the music, we've talked about your performance, producing, and everything like that. But you're also, I mean, a real deal poet. I mean, this is This is like you are a poet, not you don't just rap and rhyme. I mean, you really
Right.
get down with your poetry. So,
Yeah.
to the point where you were named recently the first poet laureate in the history of Suisun City, California.
Sir.
So, one, how did that feel when that honor was bestowed upon you? And two, it seems like your spoken word, your poetry is just a significant part of who you are as the other talents that you have.
Yeah, most definitely. It was an insane feeling. It felt like a payoff of sorts. I feel like a lot of different aspects of making music and putting it out is always a payoff, like even just listening to the songs. But like this was a different type of payoff. Like I felt like I was being recognized and people were seeing me, and it felt like being seen. That's a good way of describing it. It felt like being seen in a really big way, because that's something that they hadn't really done before in Sassoon. And being the first, like that's kind of historical. They hung the poem up in City Hall too, and it was just like thinking about that. Like people can walk in to this building where so much important stuff is happening, and they can look and just see my piece on the wall. Like it's just a cool thought. Um, Poetry is huge for me, because I really don't see, like I always keep poetry and rap so tightly wound, because in truth that's really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Even in its most simple form, like it's just poetry. It's set to a beat, or sometimes not set to a beat. So I always try to not lose that root to it, and always try to make it a huge piece of what I do when I create.
So what are you currently working on? What's your next project, man?
So I actually just released a single today. Um, it's called "The Way I Feel About You Can't Be Explained in a Verse." It's beautiful songs, like a love song, very very different for me in terms of the sound. It's very soft spoken, but like compassionate and powerful. And it's leading up to an EP that's dropping next month on the 10th. X's and O's. It's gonna be full of R&B inspired. Some like I've actually got a song on there that's very pop rock inspired as well, like we were just talking about.
Nice.
So a lot of beautiful music that I'm super excited for. Yeah.
Well, we can't wait to hear it, man. And what I like to do is right before we close out, if you're okay, if YouTube will allow, if I can play a little bit of that on the way out. If not, you know how YouTube is. Sometimes they be blocking a brother, so you know how that is. But we'll see.
Oh yeah,
But if
no,
not, if YouTube, the powers that be, won't allow me to play that on the way out, where can people go and listen to your music and get more information about you?
so I am everywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon, every platform. You can find me on Instagram at Kuro Kiddo, KURO_KIDDO. On Twitter at Excalibur 707. And you find either of those, you'll be able to find my links in my bio that'll lead you to everywhere else. And yeah.
All right. Well, Excalibur, I want to thank you, man, for coming on the Eddrick Show. Really appreciate you. Appreciate your talent and the message that you're putting out in the world, man. Because as a young brother, you are putting out some sophisticated, intelligent information that people need to hear. And so I just want to commend you on that, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. This has been another edition of the Eddrick Show. I am your host, Eddrick Jerome. Of course, this is the place for intelligent conversation with interesting people. Please hit subscribe. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of your favorite online streaming platforms for podcasts. Drop us a comment, give us a like, let us know how we're doing as I continue to grow this thing from the ground up. I want to thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
The way I feel about you can't be explained in a verse. Started writing and already knew the words. Already knew that X's and O's were written in flows. But niggas that pose to pull women in droves. It don't make heart taking music. Hardly. I make heart aching music. Partly. Cause the heartbreak music, how I break through. Thinking of you, I started writing with my heart. Say music get me lost in my thoughts of you. When I sit across from you, nobody else exists. Can't replace you with another, it's impossible. Niggas tryna talk to you, fuck that shit get me pissed. But you my boomerang, flying when you hear my name. I feel the same, for the sake of you I'll shed the pain. Up in my brain, scratch X's and O's into the grave. Some say it's only X's and hoes up in the bay, but I found you, and I'ma hold on like a lonely hug. See pictures of our future, pictures of making love in my head. When I think of you, image very clear. Not too long ago, them images told me I disappeared. So I need X's and O's. So I need X's and O's. So I